in a city would know how it feels to live in a world without power, without mercy, without Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 Rise of Electro. First, quick little opinion on the first one. I thought it was okay. There were lots of little things I liked about the first one, but it overall just kind of lacked originality. This movie I felt like I had to see out of curiosity. The critics don't seem to like this movie, while the fans on the other hand do. You go on Metacritic and the review scores there are mixed, while you go on IMDb and the user reviews are all gleaming. So, what do I think of it? I think it is very flawed, but also very entertaining regardless. There's things about it that work and things about it that don't work. What are those things, you ask? Well, first off, the storytelling is kind of disjointed. There's a lot going on in this movie. Peter Parker trying to balance his normal life with his superhero life, new supervillains rising, his relationship with Gwen Stacy. Oh my god, what is happening anymore? But there is some good that comes out of it. For one thing, I like that they chose to focus on both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I had actually forgotten that Spider-Man was just as much about the man behind the mask as well as the mask itself. The story overall is actually pretty good. There's some good twists and turns and some emotional highlights. I just wish that it could have been told better. In fact, I've now heard that there was actually a lot of footage cut from the movie that didn't make it in. Another thing that didn't quite work was some of the romance scenes between Peter and Gwen. They felt quite cheesy and felt more like they came out of a teen romance movie than a comic book movie. I guess that was supposed to appease the teen demographic, but it just comes off as silly. But they do make up for it with some good heartfelt emotion. They actually address some of the scenes built up in the first movie, one of which is what happened to Peter Parker's father, and I'm not going to give anything away. Then there's the villains. They've sort of repeated history by having 3 villains and only one of them gets a good amount of screen time. I know it's supposed to be building up to the Sinister Six, but it could have been handled better. Which is a shame because the villains in this are actually quite cool. Particularly Electro, who's a visually interesting villain. Actually, that's another thing I like about this movie, the effects. Normally when I watch a special effects oriented movie, I just go along with it because at this point, great CGI is par for the course. But something about the effects in this movie and just the sheer look of it really grabbed me. Which is something that other special effects oriented movies don't do. And speaking of special effects, the action scenes are also quite good. The battle with Electro near the end is one of the best comic book movie action scenes I've ever seen in my life. So overall, there's a lot that this movie gets right and a lot that it gets wrong. But I don't think it has that one crippling flaw that just outright ruins it. It actually did keep my interest throughout the whole thing. So, I'm glad I saw it, and I'm actually looking forward to Amazing Spider-Man 3, if only because the fight with the Sinister Six is gonna be awesome.